base. Maintain your current course while we scan for contraband. And that's it. Enjoy that Aquila City air.
Fleet vessel. Welcome home.
On 40% of 10 versus 30.
You wanted 4K, you got 4K. Not my problem.
If you're stealing from me, you bet your ass it's your problem.
You kidding me? Way to make a mess in front of my new Rook.
Hey, steal from me and get caught? Better off dead.
Sounds like you did the fleet a favor. Now toss this body out of an airlock before it turns into a damn air freshener.
Hello, Captain.
The hell took you so long? Forget how to grav jump or something? Please. It'd be one less sloppy Rook whose mess I had to clean up. The last thing I need is another Austin Rake getting cold feet. You want to leave the fleet? You pay the price. Not in credits, but in blood. Fair enough. Glad to see you showing some backbone. Just be careful that you can back up that attitude before you square off with someone who can kick your ass. But, all that aside, you made it. So now, you get to hear a nifty history lesson. Pencils ready? Good. This floating scrap heap you're standing on is called the Key. Used to be an old UC military star station, and now it's the fleet's base of operations. Might look a little beat up on the outside, but we keep it together. Sure did. Right out from under their noses. Way before you or I were born, though. We've held this station for a very long time. Don't worry. Delgado will tell you all about it. You think? And that's only part of it. I'll let Delgado fill you in on the whole story. He tells it better anyway. But I can give you the short version while we walk the station.
It must be very embarrassing for the UC to be in this situation.
Anyway, I'll tell you all about the key. But it's better if I show you too. Follow me. All right. History time. So, the key is in orbit around Suvorov. That's the very same ice ball where the United Colonies built a supermax prison they call the Lock. The UC is so clever. Supermax prison, lock, key. Cute, huh?
Hello, everyone. I'm Gail Dunnigan of SSNN, and this is Galactalk. My guest tonight is one of the most notorious criminals in the settled systems. His ruthlessness and desire for wealth has landed him squarely at the top of the wanted list for every major law enforcement agency in the galaxy. I am, of course, speaking of the self-appointed leader of the Crimson Fleet himself, Jasper Kryx. Good evening, Mr. Kryx.
Good evening, Gail. Thank you for accepting my invitation.
Yes, well, being blindfolded and then grav-jumped to what appears to be an abandoned mining facility isn't exactly what I'd call an invitation.
Well, I'm sure you're not surprised that your request for an interview would come with some very specific conditions.
Frankly, I was a bit surprised to receive any type of response at all. Would you mind telling me why you decided to do this interview?
Because there comes a time in every pirate's life where they have to make an extremely important decision. Do they take a leap and become one of the most legendary pirates in history? Or do they simply sputter on, subsisting on freighters and deep space privateers?
So are we to assume that you are taking the leap? That Jasper Kryx is moving on to bigger and better things in his life?
That's spot on, Gail. That's exactly why you're here.
Interesting. Well then, would you mind sharing with us exactly what your particular leap entails?
In due time. There's no rush. In fact, I'd say we have at least 12 hours before the authorities trace this broadcast. Plenty of time to discuss whatever you like.
Oh, all right then. Perhaps the best place to start this interview would be at the beginning of your career.
Please, proceed.
Now, we've got everything the fleet needs right here. Of course, you've got to pay for it. Remember, on the key, credits are king. What the hell is this?
All right, hang on, Nav. Before you get pissed, I've got my hands full.
Jasmine, sweetie, I'm trying to give a tour here. So you want to tell me why those damn doors are sealed?
It's called a malfunction. You know, that thing I spend most of my day dealing with. Believe me, my people are on it. Have a little faith for once.
Aw. And you always, Angel. This here's Jasmine. You need anything for your ship, she's got you covered. We'll hit up the depot next since these doors have given out on us. So anyway, we were talking about the Lock. About 100 years ago, the prisoners down there rioted and took over the place. After stealing some ships, they were actually able to make it up here and took over the key.
About time you brought us new blood, Naeva. I was getting tired of trading with the same old faces.
You're just ticked everyone's getting wise to your ridiculous prices, Aludra. Anyway, welcome to the depot, Rook, where you'll be lucky if these blood-sucking leeches don't bleed you completely dry.
Whoa. It's not our fault that people don't appreciate how much it costs to get untraceable merchandise onto the key.
Naeva's just whining because she thinks she lost a ton of cash selling us a shipment of gear. She should have done her homework.
Yeah, sure, laugh it up. I'll remember that next time I need something from you cheapskates. Let's move on. Back to my story. After the liberated prisoners grabbed the key, they established it as a base of operations and began pirating the spaceways. That was how the Crimson Fleet began. Of course, Jasper Kryx had a lot to do with all that, but we'll get to him later. Rook, meet Zuri, Queen of the Rare Exports.
If I don't have it, you don't need it.
Neuroamps, blueprints. Hit her up and she'll take care of you.
Speaking of which, you still owe me for that last purchase, Naeva. It's like 5 figures. Don't make me collect it the hard way.
The hard way? Oh no. Rook, protect me from Zuri's vengeance. Enough of the bullshit, Zuri. I'll pay you when I pay you. Deal with it. Got a problem with that? Take it up with the boss. On the right, you've got Radley from the Trade Authority. I'm sure you know the deal there. He'll buy pretty much anything, no matter how hot. Then we got our med bay on the left, run by the one and only Samina Mizrah. She'll patch you up, if you've got the money. We don't run any free clinics up in here, you don't? Okay, this is our final stop. Over there, you've got the last Nova, where Bog serves watered-down drinks at ridiculously exorbitant prices. And right here is the most important place on the entire station. The Reckoner's Core, run by the incomparable Shinya Voss.
Another new Rook, Naeva? I can't believe Delgado still lets you recruit given what happened with the last one.
You mean Austin Rape? It's been taken care of, all right? I don't like loose ends, and this Rook is the one who tied it off.
Perhaps next time you'll try to be a bit more discerning regarding your choices. It's far more cost-effective.
Yeah, love you too, darling. Anyway, Shinya handles our lifeblood. The money. We call him our Reckoner, but if you ask me, he's actually a pain in the ass.
And Naeva will slit your throat if she thinks you'll bleed creds.
Go to hell, boss. Take care of our new friend here, or I'll find a way to pull the pin on that little party popper in your chest. Anyway, Shinya will get you set up in our system. I've got real work to do. Once you're done, head upstairs and I'll introduce you to the boss.
Time for a proper introduction. I am Shinya Voss, the official reckoner for the Crimson Fleet. And since Naeva so thoughtfully mentioned it, yes, this is a bomb embedded in my chest. And no, I'll never know the meaning of the word humble. In fact, I find Delgado's idea of a security measure to be quite empowering. I see the bomb as a symbol of my importance, and it's a constant reminder to everyone of the sacrifice I was willing to make. The freedom I've given up, the pain, it's not something that just anyone has the resolve to bear.
He is right. The pain he endures is proof of his loyalty. And his resolve.
Glad you approve. Obviously, betrayal isn't taken lightly around here. Since I oversee the bulk of transactions and maintain all accounts for the fleet, I'm a prime target for information. Should our enemies capture me or I grew any semblance of a moral conscience, you might consider me the greatest threat we have. For Delgado, the bomb grants peace of mind and a certain degree of safety. Essentially, but I sleep soundly knowing I'm one of the few that can piss Delgado off and live. Should I die, all of my knowledge, the accounts, the credits, it would be a mess. He wouldn't dare. He holds the trigger, but we all know that my death cripples the fleet. Call the bomb a weapon of last resort. It's been over 5 years since I've stepped off the key. Leaving this place puts far too much at risk. Now, let me get you set up. A moment while I convene with the core. Thanks to advanced modifications even Ryujin would envy, I can interface directly with our mainframe and the GalBank network. This allows me to move and clean credits faster and more efficiently than any run-of-the-mill cyber runner. There, you're done. All you need now is Delgado's blessing, and you'll be one of us. None. Other than my chest and arm modifications, I am but a simple man. Is the interview over now? Can we get back to work? The perfect segue into my final subject. Thanks to our relations with contacts across the galaxy, we always have a steady stream of jobs available. I've granted you all the necessary permissions to access these listings at any time, using the computers that surround the core. Oh, you know, smuggling, piracy, taking things that aren't yours. Nothing that should keep you up at night. Well, depending on your methods. We're officially done here. Now, I believe that covers all I have to say, so you can run along to Delgado. Take the elevator to the upper level. You should be able to find your way from there, I hope.
Alright, listen up. You can all stop complaining. Atrium to cargo bay doors have been repaired. Oh, and you're welcome, Nev.
Where did your stellar rise to infamy begin?
In the streets of New Atlantis. No parents, no godparents. Just a homeless punk kid robbing whoever he could for the credits.
Were these violent crimes? Murders?
I'm a bit offended you even asked that question, Gale. Sure, a few people here and there walked away with injuries, but I'm not some kind of butcher.
That doesn't sound as heartless as your reputation would imply.
Well, like I said, I was just a kid.
Were you ever caught by the authorities in New Atlantis?
Oh, dozens of times. I'd just give them a fake name, or they just slap me on the wrist and send me on my way. They obviously didn't think that I'd amount to anything, and didn't want to waste their time with rehabilitation.
What changed that? Was it the robbery in 2218?
2218? Oh, yeah. The GalBank archives. Very good, Gale. I see you've done your research. That would be when I rounded up a few of my buddies and we knocked the place over. Made off with a ton of credits. My first big score.
Is that why the Crimson Scar decided to bring you into their ranks?
That's right. They brought me in, taught me the ropes, and I did crimes for them for 5 years. Till I decided I wanted more. I got rid of their leader, put myself in his place, and started running the show. I've been the one in charge ever since.
Was it absolutely necessary to cut his throat and leave the body on a public street in the well?
On the street, reputation is everything. I wanted everyone in the city to know that Jasper Kryx was taking over. I think they got the message.
Soon, everyone is going to learn to fear the fleet.
used to work for a megacorp. Wore a monkey suit and everything. Seems like a different time.
So, tell us about Jasper Kryx's version of the Crimson Scar.
All I can tell you is that under my guidance, the Crimson Scar became more influential than every other syndicate combined. Here I was, 22 years old, and I had power, people that followed my orders, and an endless stream of credits. Gale, I have to tell you, I was having the time of my life.
So you consider extortion, robbery, burglary, kidnapping, assault, and murder to be positive life influences?
No. I'd consider them as just means to an end. Those so-called crimes were merely stepping stones until I had enough wealth to buy the Crimson Scar a few spacecraft.
Yes, let's talk about that. It appears you weren't satisfied with terrorizing New Atlantis alone.
Oh, I've never stopped reaching, Gale. The amount of money we were making in New Atlantis was decent, but the really big scores were in space on the cargo ships. We're talking millions of credits, maybe more. Who the hell could count it all?
Most people assume this is when the UC decided to actively set up a task force to pursue the Crimson Scar.
That's correct. Those idiots in charge of the United Colonies were clearly embarrassed that they had allowed the Crimson Scar to make the jump into space. They sent ships after us. Lots of ships. I almost think that they enjoy starting wars.
Perhaps this was the first time you had finally reached too far.
You could say that. I count my time running the Crimson Scar as a learning experience. I wouldn't say I reached too far. I'd say I reached too fast. Didn't cover all my bases. Made some stupid mistakes. One thing's for certain, though. When I was finally arrested and thrown into the lock, I had plenty to think about.
And succeed at that before we are discovered.
Rook.
Ah, there's our other new recruit. So, now that we are all here, it's time to get down to business. The two of you are the only Rooks that have made the latest cut. The rest, well, let's just say they won't be joining us ever again. Naeva's willing to put her neck on the line and vouch for you, which means you've got what it takes to join the Crimson Fleet. You and everyone else on this station. Keep following orders, and you'll get paid. It's as simple as that. All right, let's get started here. When you sign up with the Crimson Fleet, you're in it for the long haul. No one quits. No one retires. The only way out is death. You stay loyal or you pay the consequences. Fleet before friends. Fleet before family. Fleet before yourself. Of course we have rules. If you think the Crimson Fleet was built on a lawless dream, think again. Our influence, our money, our respect comes from meticulous planning and every last soul in the fleet following my orders to the letter. That is why you need to learn to place the fleet before everything.
Hey, if you've got a problem, I can decorate that wall behind you with your brains. Room could use a little color if you ask me.
It's all right, Naeva. I admire this Rook's backbone. Takes a lot of guts to crack jokes with the threat of death staring them in the face.
Can we get on with this? I want to get drunk at the last Nova.
I'm impressed. That is the first intelligent thing you have said this entire time, Mathis. Since you two seem so eager to move forward, let's get to your next job. Pack your cold weather gear, Rooks. Where we are going, you're going to need it.
Oh, God, don't tell me you're dragging him down to Suvarol for another one of your little initiation runs. 10 Johns to the surface, 12 dead Rooks. You'd think by now you would have given up on that goddamn campfire story.
Kryx's legacy is no story, Naeva. We've got fresh eyes in the fleet. And if these two want to impress, they're going to help me search those ruins.
I hope you're right, Dale. That new code we grabbed for the lot cost us a ton of credits. And a decent captain.
This initiation, as Naeva calls it, is your chance to see where it all began. On Suvorov with Jasper Kryx. Kryx led the riots that gave birth to the Crimson Fleet. And if his legacy is still out there, we're going to be the ones to find it. Through a bit of luck and a hell of a lot of cash, Naeva was able to get her hands on an access code to the inside of the lock. This will be the first time someone from the Crimson Fleet has set foot in there for, well, since Kryx left the place behind. It has been frustrating being this close to potential clues, but not being able to find a way through those prison walls. Of course. Where else could I find such a perfect location to weed out any Rooks who'd be wasting the fleet's time? What? Were you expecting a goddamn graduation ceremony? Think I'm just going to slap a skull on you and send you on your way? Make no mistake, you are being tested all the time. Every job you take will be under constant scrutiny. And Naeva? Oh, she's just waiting for you to screw things up. Before Kryx left the fleet, he left a message talking about a major score. One that would set up the fleet to be a big player in the settled systems. Somewhere down the line, they started calling it Kryx's legacy. And everyone who's tried to find it has wound up empty-handed, missing, or dead. If we're gonna beat those odds, we'll first need a lead. And I would wager we will find one on Suvorov.
Dale's leaving out the best part. That this whole search is based on a handful of words on a very old slate. Kryx left a lot of big talk on that recording, and not a lot of facts. Some of us believe in it more than others.
Don't listen to her. When we get our hands on Kryx's legacy, the fleet will be operating at a completely different level. We will become more than a match for UC Systef. Listen to the words that I am saying. The legacy is real. You will find that out in due time, provided you're willing to put in the work. Nothing worth having ever comes easy.
Strange words coming from a pirate. You steal what is not yours because it is easy, no? But perhaps I am mistaken.
You forget the UC is still licking its wounds from the colony wars. They don't have the capability to mount a full-scale assault. And if they were foolish enough to attack, we would have the manpower to push those pendejos right back to Jemison. If we have Kryx's legacy. Sounds like someone wants to get down to business. Okay, enough discussion. We have got a lot of work to do. To that end, the next stop is the lock. I've had Jazz feed the coordinates into your ship's computer. Since Mathis doesn't have a ship, he's going to ride with me. I'll see you down there, Rook. Don't keep me waiting. And I suppose it can't possibly wait until we get down there? Fine. What is it? There is no deal. You and Mathis are two sides of the same coin. A couple of rooks fighting for a spot in the fleet. Only problem is that he is down a ship and you are not, which puts you ahead. Just barely. Who knows? Maybe he'll get lucky and you won't make it off Suvorov in one piece. It's cold. Bitter cold. Just about the last place you would want to find yourself without heat. The few living things that can survive the extreme temperatures are constantly fighting to stay at the top of the food chain. The Crimson Fleet called Suvorov the White Hell. To me, it's paradise. Someone up here pisses me off enough, I send them down to the surface for a little overnight visit. Snaps them right back into line. The UC built the lock as a supermax prison a little under... well, it must have been at least 100 years ago. Before that, those concha de sus madres marooned prisoners on the planet's surface and left them to their own devices. As you can imagine, these turned into some kind of demented survival of the fittest. Prisoners killing each other for a chance at the meager supplies. Luckily, some whistleblowers back in New Atlantis saw this as cruel and unusual punishment and pressured the UC into building the facility. 5 years after the prison was completed, Kryx touched off the riots that overran the lock and eventually the key. Nobody knows exactly what went down. I mean, there's all sorts of rumors. Kryx was in prison for almost 5 years, and judging from the look of the facility, every moment must have been miserable. I suppose he just got fed up and decided to take matters into his own hands. Got the prisoners behind him and kept pushing until he reached the key. The cojones on that guy. UC's toughest supermax prison, and he just waltzed the hell out of there like it was nothing. I would love to have been a part of that. Fine, then get moving.
Tell us about your arrest.
Oh, my arrest was spectacular. Definitely one for the record books. UC Security sent an armada after our little fleet of ships and picked us off one by one until the remainder of us made it to the wheel.
For our listeners' benefit, that was the star station in orbit around Voli that you destroyed just before your arrest, correct?
You see, that's what they'd have you believe, but the truth is much less sinister. There was a firefight on the wheel when they tried to bring us in. We holed up, but UC Security unleashed hell. The damage they caused was catastrophic. We only surrendered so we wouldn't die when the station exploded.
Well, the UC says you set demolition charges to try and cover your tracks and make your escape.
That's their story. You'll have to go with your gut on what you think really happened. Anyway, they took us in and tossed us into the lock. That lovely resort they opened on Suvorov.
And you were imprisoned there for how long?
Well, it was supposed to be for life, Gale. But I ended up serving 2 years before I decided I'd had enough.
Is there any particular reason that you started the riots that eventually led to the worst prison break in United Colonies history?
Yes. I'm quite proud of that, actually. I honestly didn't think it would go as well as it did. As for the reason, well, it's simple. The UC were treating us like animals. The conditions in the lock were ridiculously bad and no one cared. That's why they stuck us on that ice ball in the first place. Out of sight, out of mind.
Your escape caused the deaths of many that were stationed at the lock. Some would brand that as a bit dismissive for what you're describing as a protest. If you were simply advocating for your fellow inmates, why didn't you just go through the proper channels?
And what the hell was I supposed to do? Send a strongly worded letter to my duly appointed representative? Wake up. The UC only responds to actions, not words. In my mind, there was no other choice. You know what? Let's move past my time at the lock so we can get to the point of this goddamned interview.
Steph probably thinks we're a bunch of mindless marauders. We here in Ops...
If you need credits, hit up the mission boards at the core.
Pirates and alcohol. What could go wrong in a place like this?
Maybe. We haven't decided.
The hell you mean you haven't decided?
Well, it's just, we were thinking. Why is it every time we go out and do a job, it's you who ends up with all our creds?
My friend's got a point, Bog. Every pirate in this joint comes to the Nova for a drink.
Seems to me, instead of trawling deep space for stick change, we got a much bigger target right here at home.
A lot of jingle in those pockets, Bog. Could use a good shake.
Well, that's an interesting theory, but here's my take. First off, the creds you spend here go to the fleet, not to me, not to you. Second, if either of you bums lay a finger on those creds, I have Delgado's express permission to blow your heads off and serve the guts as sushi. Now, I will buy a drink or get the hell out of here.
Hey, my fellow Rook. How's it going?
We may not have official security.
Stealing from each other is just what you call a professional courtesy.
Talk about something else. How did the Crimson Scar become the Crimson Fleet?
After I busted out of the lock, I decided to take things to the next level. I had the key, a few UC ships, and a couple dozen ex-cons at my side. But I needed more, so I sent out the call. Once word got around, it didn't take long for freelance pirates from every corner of the settled systems to show up.
And this is how the Crimson Fleet was born.
Exactly. The key became our base of operations. We spent months reinforcing our position there, making it nearly impossible to approach.
What was the UC's response to the situation?
First of all, UC security gave up and handed the reins over to the big guns, the UC Navy. The Navy in turn sent ships to attack the key. I'd say there have been 3 major attacks over the last few years. And as you can tell by the fact we're having this interview, all the attacks were embarrassing failures.
Do you feel these embarrassing failures led them to form UC Systems?
Absolutely. They've clearly given up and decided to shove the responsibility onto a separate division. That way, in the public eye, the UC Navy can move forward, proud and strong, while UC SysDef continually takes all the blame. It's all about PR spin for them, Gale. That's how the UC operates. Kinda disgusting, don't you think?
Sounds a bit like you're trying to deflect attention off the atrocities the Crimson Fleet commits on a daily basis.
Atrocities, huh? How about fighting the Freestar Collective over a bunch of rocks hanging in space? How about thousands of people dying while a bunch of pencil-pushing bastards sit in a cushy office and draw lines on a star map? Maybe the United Colonies should stop the bullshit and take a hard look in the mirror to see who the monsters really are.
Always ask for a bigger cut. It's all about making those credits.
Oh, I was wondering when you'd wander my way. The name's Fergus. Fergus Wickham. But you can call me Bog. Welcome to the last Nova, where the drinks are never free. Got it back in my experimental days. Before we fixed up Nova, she was a real boggy mess. Practically an indoor swamp. I figured some of what's growing around here could make some decent booze. Some might say I only got the booze part right. Guilty? You name it, I got it. Although, I can't speak to quality. We don't believe in expiration dates here as long as it gets the job done. As long as you're buying, stay as long as you like. The last Nova never sleeps, so no last call here. Since it's your first time with us, I'm willing to make an exception to the rule and offer you my speciality. On the house. One free bottle of Bog's Grog. That's the spirit. I knew you'd be the adventurous type. And if you like it, you're in luck. Cheapest drink you can find. And guaranteed to drown those sorrows. Nova wasn't always the lovely sight you see before you. She used to be a hydro farm and put up quite a fight when we decided to give her a makeover. Overgrown water everywhere. I almost gave up. But what's a proper home without a pub, eh? Now that's a trade secret, mate. And a homegrown one at that. But nothing to worry about. I've been serving it up going on 20 years now. Only things that kill my customers are bullets and stupidity. There we got the usual suspects. Last Nova never closes, so come back anytime.
As long as you put the fleet first.
I have had enough dealings with the Crimson Fleet to know that we should both be very, very aware of our surroundings right now.
Delgado needed you on the planet. Why are you talking to me? Is this important? Because I'm pretty sure you've been given orders. Let's put it this way. I know Delgado needs something to give rooks like you some confidence. But let's get real for a second. Do you really think Kryx could hide that much wealth and keep it hidden from the rest of us for over 100 years? No way. Secrets last as long as supernovas around here. No one can keep their mouth shut unless someone shuts it for them. Nah, it's all a bunch of bullshit. Look, I'm not trying to bust Dell's balls. He's not the first to go looking for that fairy tale, and I'm damn sure he's not gonna be the last. What kind of stupid question is that? This is the Crimson Fleet. Trusting someone is as pointless as trying to carry water in your bare hands. Do you have any idea how many assholes I've had to put down because they decided to try and make a run at me? Or Dale? Way too many. Just follow directions and keep making the fleet money, and we won't have a problem. Clear? Mathis is a real piece of work. Adler shoveled him onto us about a week before you turned up. One of the greediest rooks I've seen come through the key in a long time. Dumb as a bag of spanners, too. Do you know he had the guts to ask Delgado for jump fuel compensation after being asked to fly out here? He didn't get it, but damn. If you want my advice, save everyone the trouble and make sure he doesn't come back from your little planetary excursion on Suvorov. Because that's exactly what you are. A rookie, a newbie, fresh meat. Beneath all of that inexperience, I'm sure you have an actual name. But honestly, no one gives a damn. So get used to hearing that word. Until you earn your stripes, you're a rook to everyone in the fleet. We'll talk later.
Were my instructions unclear? What do you want? Were my instructions unclear? What do you want? I could tell you stories that would last for hours. But now is not the time. You have a job to do, and I don't like to be kept waiting. When you... well, if you get back to the key, I am sure you can find some copies of the interview he gave to SSNN around here, somewhere. I think those recordings might give you the history lesson that you are looking for.
Tell us what the future holds for the Crimson Fleet.
Changes are coming, Gale. Huge changes. Crimson Fleet will soon be a much bigger player in this little game between the members of the settled systems.
That's quite a bold statement. Would you care to elaborate?
Well, let's just say that I'm on the brink of a score so large, it makes everything else pale in comparison. Beyond that, you'll just have to wait and see.
If you aren't willing to discuss the details, why grant SSNN this interview?
Simple. I refuse to allow the UC to spin or bury the story, making it sound like they're in complete control of the situation. I'm gonna tell you right now, they aren't.
Why does the Crimson Fleet need to make this mysterious move that you're being so evasive about?
I know SysDef instructed you to draw this meeting out as long as possible. So let me sum this up. I intend to make sure that the Crimson Fleet becomes the United Colony's worst nightmare. And nothing, I mean nothing in this universe, will stop me from achieving that goal.
There are those that would disagree with you and claim this interview is grandstanding, or worse, a recruitment tool. After all, SSNN reaches every corner of the settled systems, and your aspirations could inspire the directionless to turn to the fleet.
You and the sheep that listen to your garbage can believe whatever the hell you want. If you were so worried about what I had to say, you wouldn't have allowed yourself to be brought here.
Glad that job's finally over. You never stop chasing us.
Yeah, good thing we lost him in that asteroid belt. Really brought your A game.
That was pure luck. Nearly pissed myself back here.
No shit. Could have fooled me. As far as I'm concerned, you're the best damn pilot in the fleet. Entrance run.
How quickly can you get that done?
In the fleet, you either put up, shut up, or die. Your choice.
Let me just ask you one final question before we wrap up.
Fine. Go ahead.
When is enough going to be enough? How many credits does Jasper Kryx need until he's satisfied?
I should have expected you to ask such a stupid question. How the hell could you ever understand? You with your fancy education and your sheltered upbringing and your cushy media job. Me, I came from nothing. Everything I own, I've literally drawn blood to gain.
There's no need to get personal. I'm simply trying to state the facts so that our listeners can make judgments of their own.
Lady, I got news for you. Half of your listeners think I'm a hero. The other half are scared out of their goddamn minds, and they should be.
Perhaps we should talk about something else.
No, that's it. We're done. Can you guys get her the hell out of here? Make sure she takes all this sound equipment with her.
Well, that's it then. Thank you for your...
Actually, before you go, Gale, there's one more thing I would like to say.
Yes, of course. What is it?
When you broadcast this interview on SSNN, I want you to remember that I'll be listening. If you edit even one word or manipulate my voice to change anything I've said, I will hunt you down and kill you. In front of everyone. Do you understand?
I understand. You have my word.
So wait, say that again. You think I'm who?
Stop playing games. We both know your real name is Lionel Soto, and you know why I'm here.
Who are you? Fleet? Ecliptic? An independent?
I've spent 2 long years and every credit I had looking for you, just so I could look you in the eye before I pulled the trigger.
Hey, what's with the gun? There must be some mistake. I honestly don't know who you are.
Of course you don't know who I am. You're never concerned with the death you leave in your wake, in your pursuit of greed. You killed my husband, you son of a bitch! And now I'm going to kill you!
Such a terrible shame. All that time and money she wasted. Well. Better get rid of the body.
I am sick of using the trade authority to clean goods. Radley's the real thief on this station.
If you got any spare creds or just need to unload some junk, head to the depot.
Need to have Jazz look at my graph drive. I swear it's not jumping to the right place.
Got some health issues you need help with? First time visiting the infirmary, huh? Let me give you a piece of advice. Try not to get into too many bar fights. I'm trying to save my dwindling supplies for sale and pirates coming in off of raids. I've done my time, but thanks to a malpractice suit, I've officially dropped the doctor title. Don't let that worry you. I'm still just as good, if not better, than half the surgeons at the clinic. That's what they all say, until they stumble in bleeding out on my floor. So here's what's what. You need medpacks, curatives, preventatives, I've got you covered. At least as long as my current supply holds out. You need enhancers, legal or illegal? I've got those too. In the fleet, someone has to do it, so it may as well be me. This way, I've got a good idea of who's on what and how much. If they come in for any real medical treatment, I know exactly what I'm dealing with. Hopefully, that won't be often. Now, if you don't need anything else, I've got a particularly annoying supply issue to deal with. You'd think most of the injuries I treat are from run-ins with security or civilians taking a stand. But I'd say at least half are just life on the key. Brawls, egos, and plain old stupidity. At least it keeps me busy. Try not to die out there.
Need something?
If it's hard to find, I've probably got it. Don't even try to rip me off. I know value when I see it. I sell a little bit of everything, but only if it's hard to find, and only for a high price. Neuroamps, a few unique resources, maybe a specialized weapon or two. Anything that's rare and in high demand. I was raised fleet. My mama joined up when I was 12. She was a first-class smuggler. We'd always lived comfortably, but she took the offer to join when a job almost went south. She figured if anything ever happened to her, it'd guarantee I'd still have a home. It's been non-stop. Even as a kid, I was helping distract security in those smuggling days. It's amazing how just having a child aboard, especially one as cute as I was, can throw off the scent. Between my mama and the fleet, I can talk my way out of anything, and use or fix any weapon and ship in the galaxy. Real-life skills, if you know what I mean. We can talk about whatever you want, as long as you got the creds. Come back and see me sometime.
Looking to make a deal? What'll it be, friend? Buying, selling? The Trade Authority takes anything and everything. A well-kept appearance gives the impression of a respectable establishment. The more respectable the place, the more credits people are willing to pay. Yeah, like you don't know. Oh, you really don't know, do you? To the public, we promote free trade throughout the galaxy. You see, Freestar Independent, doesn't matter. To you and your friends here, same rules still apply. We buy and sell any goods, no questions asked. The fleet's got an impressive commerce system. They even managed a legitimate doctor among their ranks. Business on the Key is like no other. It's the sole reason I'm here, for the credits. I'd say it's been about 10 years now since the Trade Authority assigned me this post. It felt a little extreme at the time, but I can see why they figured it was a good fit. It's the mutual benefit. The Trade Authority buys any goods of value. We don't care how you got it, only that we can profit from it. It's the fastest way to turn your hard-earned loot into legitimate credits, ready to spend. So, naturally, it made sense to establish a presence here. Why risk flying into New Atlantis or Aquila City when you can just do business here? Not everyone thinks so. I'm still Trade Authority, not a part of the fleet. There are a few, Naeva included, that see me as an outsider. Regardless, as long as the fleet has goods to push, the Trade Authority will always maintain a presence on the Key. Let's just say I've done my fair share of questionable activities in the past. With the credits I amassed, I gave the Trade Authority a sizable donation in exchange for a clean slate and a stable job. So, here I am. At your service. I left a similar lifestyle behind when I joined the Trade Authority, and never looked back. A lot of the Rooks here see freedom and lawlessness, but that's only if you don't get caught. True freedom is not having a bounty on your head, with every cop and mercenary out to get you. I hope you're not low on credits. Remember, all trades are restriction-free.
I hope you do not have any loose cred sticks. I fully expect you would find them missing
All right,
when we
make
leave
it quick.
here.
I hope you actually need components. I hate wasting my time. I don't do small talk. You want to do business? We'll do business. You want to chat? Go see Bog. It's a general store, which means I sell general goods. Mostly junk that no one else wants to carry. Raw materials, blueprints, spare parts. Fascinating, I know. Oh, bye, I guess. Looking to make quick work of your enemies? Well, well. Naeva's new hotshot. I knew you'd find your way back to my little corner of the key. Everyone always does. Take a look around, genius. And don't tell me you've never laid eyes on a gun before. But just in case I need to spell it out for you, the merch I carry is known as weapons and ammunition. Get it? Good thing I'm not here to impress. I carry most of the standard hardware. You know, kinetics, electromags, energy, even a few explosives. Occasionally, I stock a few smuggled items. Basically the stuff SysDev doesn't want you to play with. Just don't screw me over or I'll be inclined to give you a free demo. With your head as the target. Not being intimidated by me is one thing. The fleet? That's another. A little advice, Sadiqi? The fleet's trust can't be bought. You earn it. You bleed for the fleet bleeds for you. Pure and simple. Anyone who says otherwise is either lying or getting ready to stab you in the back. Don't say I never did you any favors. I'd argue Bog's got me beat as far as customer base goes. But when it comes to profit, I am on top. A good gun's what makes all the difference out there sometimes. And for some, it's the only thing they'll ever trust. If your credits are good, I'm open. Need more weapons or ammo? Come see me.
No price is too high when it comes to protection, right? Now you buy from me, you can look good and protect your ass at the same time. It's a twofer. Well, only the best tactical gear to protect your ass this side of the galaxy. Metal plated for when you're up against bullets. Leather for those jobs that might require a subtle touch. All made by yours truly, of course, except for a few used odds and ends that no one's gonna miss. But me? Nah, not anymore. When it comes to aim, there ain't no one worse. True facts. I mean, my friends like to say I'd have better luck talking someone to death than shooting them. Yep, my talents are best suited for making protective gear. Helmets, vests, suits. You could say I'm a tailor, not a fighter. Well, only the best protective gear you can find. Stay safe out there.
Smuggling beats a real job any day.
Every captain here's earned their stripes, bleeding for the fleet.
Your choice.
Ship services? You need it, I've got it.
Hey, champ. I'm including this month's list of parts I need for the key. Don't bust a gut, it's hefty, but I know you can handle it. I'm gonna need a lot more than usual this time. I'm planning to overhaul the entire electrical system before it completely shorts out. Oh yeah, thanks for sending over the key's reactor specs. I can't tell you exactly why I needed those. Del said to keep it hush-hush. As far as next month's shipment, start scrounging up some parts so I can spruce up our defensive batteries. They're looking kind of rusty. Well, I guess that's it for now. I'll have my people in New Atlantis drop off the payment at the spaceport. Just make sure you aren't being followed. We wouldn't want the UC to know they're providing replacement parts to the Crimson Fleet.
So, looks like we got ourselves a new Rook. Once again, I'm Jazz, resident engineer here. Like Naeva said, you need ship parts, repairs? I'll hook you up. As long as your credits are good. Naeva's the only one who calls me that, amongst other things. To you and everyone else, it's just plain old Jazz. Naeva's mine, so don't be getting any ideas. She may be a little rough around the edges, but she's just looking out for her own. There's no one better to have your back. Oh, it did when I first got here. Most of these folks aren't too keen on maintenance. Today, the key's about as safe as any other UC station, just with a hell of a lot more personality. I can guarantee your ship will be in good hands. So if you're looking for an upgrade, let me know. We got the best selection in the settled systems. Illegal, unregistered, recalled. We sell it all. No questions asked. No. You buy from me, you're worry-free. I can't have my customers getting caught now, can I? That's bad for business. Anything that keeps the UC and Freestar Rangers off your tail is a must-have in my book. Just let me know when you want to talk business. Serious enough that you don't have a chance in hell? Naeva's got a fire in her. The kind you only see in an engine pushed to its limit. She doesn't half-ass a damn thing, and I love her for it. Truth is, the fleet rescued me. Of course, I wouldn't have needed rescuing if they hadn't blown up the ship I was working on. Delgado plucked me out of space and brought me to the key. I took one look at the place and was compelled to work. Soon after, he offered me a permanent spot with the fleet. Sure. It's not like I'm busy keeping this rust bucket of a station from falling apart. I've seen worse. We'll get right on it. And I need your cash. It's a match made in heaven.
It would seem that none of the wealth stolen over the decades has been spent on upkeep for the station. This bodes poorly.